2:00 p.m. in council chambers. The first items up would be the adoption of minutes from previous meetings, committee of the whole minutes from May the 5th, parcel tax roll review panel minutes from May the 5th, and the regular open minutes from May the 5th, 2014. Any council input into those minutes? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. Any business arising from prior minutes? Hearing none. We're looking at the agenda and introduction of late items. There are 2 items coming forward. One is a letter. This will appear under correspondence 3, Clara's Big Ride. And the other one is asking for a letter of support from South Okanagan Minor Hockey. That will appear under correspondence 2. And I believe that is all we have on the agenda additions. Any council input onto those changes? The agenda will be adopted by consensus. Bringing us to delegations, and the first part of the delegation, we don't get to do these very often, but I have a letter and a small presentation to make. This is addressed to me, Mayor Stu Wells, from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators. Dear Mayor Wells, the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, CAMA, Long Service Recognition Awards Program recognizes and celebrates the dedication to public service and municipal management of our members, which is a significant priority for our association. These awards are based on the number of years of full-time paid employment in municipal government in a management capacity, a chief administrative officer, or reporting directly to a chief administrative officer. They are granted at 10 years and given in 5-year increments. We're happy to acknowledge the commitment of your Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Barry Romanko, for his 15 years of municipal service in a management capacity. His recognition pin has been mailed to him directly. Almost, I have. So congratulations, Barry. Real nice, nice milestone to make, 15 years of CAO service. So I'm sure there was quite a bit went in before that. So congratulations and thanks on behalf of council and the town of Osoyoos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continuing on in delegations, we have presentation from Mr. Matt Hassen, President of the Osoyoos Museum Society. A capital fund request, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Appreciate this opportunity to speak to our request this year. In the package, and will be coming forward in the business section of the meeting, we are requesting Town Council approval and therefore RDOS approval subsequently for the transfer of $29,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund. As Council knows, when the home building property was purchased and transferred to the RDOS, it was agreed at that time that lease payments from pro-builders would go to RDOS and would accumulate in a Capital Reserve Fund. That fund would be used for any incidental repairs and maintenance on the existing building, but the net lease revenues, that is, monies remaining, would be available to the Osoyoos Museum Society for the purposes of the capital project improvement and the creation of the new museum. But on submission of formal requests with documentation and with subsequent approval. In the first year, which was 2012, the RDOS was unable to get financing in place in time, and so for the first year, roughly $25,000 was withdrawn from this fund to meet the financing payments. But also in that year, and Council approved our request, and so did the RDOS, we contracted with the architectural firm of Bonnie Madison to undertake the schematic design phase of our project. In the following year, 2013, we applied to the RDOS for $29,600 $968 to cover the costs of a contract with a grant writer fundraiser and a number of other itemized costs. When we met with the RDOS finance people, we were informed that the budget approval was already in place for up to $50,000, and so we were granted the transfer. We should have questioned it at the time, and I do apologize for the fact that we did not, but we assumed that there had been a change in procedure, and so proceeded accordingly. We had some additional projects under potential development and advised the finance manager at the time that we might be coming back with subsequent requests. But as things turned out in 2013, we did not, and so therefore no further draw was made upon the funds nor request to do so. In February of this year, we contacted the RDOS finance manager regarding the balance in the account, and were informed that there was approximately $63,000 in the account, but that there was an interest component still to be added. Furthermore, the account was projected to increase to upwards of a potential $150,000 by the end of 2014. On March 20th of 2014, and that's the letter that is before Council in business session today, we requested that a transfer of withdrawal of $29,000 be approved to cover the cost of renewing the contract with the grant writer, and to develop and produce and print the case statement, which is the color document we'll be using as we approach the major fundraising sources for capital monies, and to move to the next stage of the project, which is the design development phase, which will put us in a better position to be more specific in terms of costs and timelines and so on. This matter was then bounced back because, as was determined, there was no budget approval, as had been the case in the previous year, and in fact we were informed, and understandably so, that we needed to return to the original proposal that was made for process, which was to apply to RDOS, which would in turn ask the Town Council for approval, and then the RDOS would then go according to that approval. So we're here today specifically to ask Town Council to approve the request for $29,000 as documented in your package, and to alert Council that we do, as we said to RDOS, we have 4 grant proposals outstanding, and the unlikely, and I don't mean that negatively, I'm meaning it practically, in the unlikely case that all will be approved, then we would need additional monies this year. One of those has already been approved. It was the application to BC Creative Spaces, and that was to do the design development drawings. We had applied for $28,000 from them. It was a total of $40,000 in the proposal, but $28,000 from Creative Spaces. We have approval, but unfortunately for only $14,000 of the $28,000 that we requested. So we're currently in the process of trying to rejig that project. In order to do that, we will still need the $12,000 that we had said that we would provide, again from the reserve fund down road. But we'll not request that $12,000 at this time because we have not yet satisfied ourselves that we have redefined the project and can go forward on a budget of about $26,000 instead of the original budget of $40,000. So, as things now stand, we are requesting approval today for withdrawal of $29,000 from the capital reserve account as documented in your package. And if we have contributed in any way to the confusion, we apologize. We did think that when we were advised last year that there was a budget approval, that there had been a decision made to streamline the process. We did not question it, and if we should have, I apologize. But we're back on track now. So if there are any questions, I'd be more than pleased to ask, and then I will remain for that business item because I have a certain interest in the outcome.
Thanks, Mr. Hassen. Any questions from council? I'll just have a comment. We did receive an apology from Ms. Kuto, the financial director at Regional District. she took it on the chin and said it was her oversight. So.
Well, and I apologize if I inadvertently contributed to that. She was new in the job, and I took it at face value that that it was okay.
Okay. Mr. Remenko, please.
So just for clarity, because in your letter there was a request for up to 65,000. You're only asking for approval on 29.
That's correct. When that letter was done, we were still under the understanding that there was going to be a budget approval, like a global amount. And we were still thinking that 50,000, which was the figure we were told in the previous year, would be the figure that Ms. Grudeau would go to RDOS board for request. We thought it best to alert her that if all 4 of the grants were approved, and we acknowledged unlikely that they would be, that it could potentially be as much as 65,000 in this year, but we recognize that it will not be that now. So that was then, and this is now. Now we're recognizing that we're back to the original process of applying on specifics as they come before us. It does mean that we will be back in a month or two's time for the monies for the design development phase, because we have the monies from BC Creative Communities in hand. We just need to reformat our project.
Okay, great. Yeah. So any further questions from Council? Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know whether you would know the answer to this, Mr. Hassen, but what is the balance in that reserve account at the moment?
I don't know what it is at the moment. When I spoke with Ms. Grudeau in early February, it was $63,000, and she said that it did not include the interest component that RDOS needed to add to that account. The figures, I can't be more than general on the figures, but the figures are roughly $8,000 a month is accumulating in the account, roughly.
And there was no draw yet in this calendar year?
No. This is our most recent request over the draw for $29,968, which was done last year and probably by incorrect process.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So nothing further. Thanks, Mr. Hassen. This will be coming up under business 1.
Thank you.
Resolution. Thank you. Under delegations 2, there is a delegation coming at 3 o'clock, and this will be the introduction of the new royalty aspirants, I guess would be the correct term, as they vie for the Queen and Princess of Osoyoos. It'll be neat to have them here at 3 o'clock. Under water matters, paying some bills in the amount of $10,028.61. Councillor Laranjo Morera. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving into correspondence. There's a report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board at the last May meeting. Any input into council on that? Other than I attended, it was in West Kelowna. It was up on Power Creek, and it was held in a $20+ million water filtration plant. Rather, West Kelowna doesn't have a lot of meeting spaces because they don't really have a city hall or anything yet. They're still shoehorned into their civic arena main building there. So we had the meeting up there and got a tour of water filtration plants and the size and that. It was very, very interesting. And of course, very apropos for the Okanagan Basin Water Board. So I think we could just have a motion to receive. Councillor Ryan Rhodes, all in favor, will receive that report. Going to further correspondence, the additions, the letter of support from South Okanagan Minor Hockey. CAO Remenko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Staff received correspondence from the South Okanagan Minor Hockey Association asking for a letter of support to assist them with a gaming grant, and the South Okanagan Minor Hockey Association is a progressive association, has a number of volunteers who bring an incredible amount of sporting opportunities to the children of the Southern Okanagan. They host practices, training clinics, tournaments, leagues, games, and special events throughout the year at the Sun Bowl Arena. The dedication from the volunteers is tremendous and very much appreciated. They are in the process of completing a community gaming grant through the province of BC. This grant can be utilized for direct delivery of approved ongoing programs in the community. The maximum amount of the grant is $100,000, and they are applying for between $60,000 and $80,000 as part of their application. There's a section dedicated to sport programming, and this organization wants to subsidize the cost of minor hockey participation for all participants. This funding can assist in reducing any increases in registration fees, use of renting facilities, and helping to subsidize other program costs. The main goal of the association is to keep the sport affordable to all participants. Although a council resolution is not mandatory, it does enhance the grant application and will send a very positive message to the approving committee. And the grant deadline is May 31, 2014.
Great. Council, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion based on the wording in option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan?
I'll second that.
As the seconder on that, anything further? Pretty well yay for our team. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? Letter of support heading their way. Item 2 under the addition, Clara's Big Ride. Again, CAO Romanco, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. We received a letter from Clara Hughes, a 6-time Olympian, and she will be visiting in our community this week. And this is just a note letting us know that she will be arriving in town, and she'll be doing 110 days and 12,000 kilometers in every province and territory, inspiring Canadians to lead the conversation about mental health in their own communities. And just as a bit of information, we do have a local program set in about with Clara here in town over at the Sonora Center, with the doors opening at 5 with various information about mental health services in town. And at 6:15 there'll be a fundraiser event, I guess a big Zumba class, and all the money raised at this event stays in this community. And then some speeches at 7:30. Then Clara herself will speak at 8 o'clock and bring her message to the community. So just a note of invitation to all residents to come out and meet Clara Hughes, 6-time Olympian champion and messenger for mental health.
Thank you, CAO Romanco. Where is that information available? Is that
the information is available on our website, okay. And also there's some posters around town, and that's on Thursday the 22nd at 5 o'clock. It starts at the Sonora Center.
Great. Thank you. Anything from council on that? Motion to receive. Rhodes report off. All in favor? We are in receipt. Thank you. Bringing us down to business. Business 1, Museum Capital Fund request, following up from Mr. Hassen. So that was, without reviewing the whole issue, that was an ask of $29,000. We would need a resolution on that. It's Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Ryan seconding. Any discussion, anything further on that?
Just a matter of option number 2 in the report just provides for the administration to seek out some clarity from the regional district. There's within the ask, there was a statement made about a guideline of $50,000 a year, and there's nothing in the formal documentation relative to $50,000 a year, and I guess my sense is that should be more formal. The funds, and when we initially had some discussions with staff at the regional district, the feeling that although there was a recognition of the need to assist the museum in developing their new facility, there was also a need to ensure that the fund was built to protect the broader building, i.e. if the roof needed replacement or there was some envelope issues, that sufficient amount of funds could be there in in the reserve to assist with those projects. So I guess we're trying to seek out some clarity, given that the town is one of the signatories for all these requests from the museum. It's just a matter of providing some clarity as to
Sure.
what this is all, how the money can be used.
Okay, well, we'll consider that inclusive of the resolution for sure, because I was the one sitting at the table when it came up as an item, and I didn't have any information at all as to what the process was. So that's why it was deferred and actually no. Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity, because the ask amount in the report is different, then just want to make sure that's in the actual resolution.
Yeah, it's 29,000.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Okay, anything further from council? All in favor? That is carried. Opposed? 0. Thank you. Into business number 2, council meeting reports for councilors McCordoff and Ryan. That could be me also, only I didn't submit mine yet, so I'm a little bit late. I'll have to catch it next time. So this is our standard attending town business out of town. There is a $100 per day per diem on that, and this is just asking for that approval to be paid. We also have half days on there, which was a fairly recent addition to it, to have that half day. So we have these two up there. Motion, Councillor Rhodes in approval, and I'm seconding that. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Checks are in the mail. Under business 3, Town of Oliver request for use of dog pound facilities. CAO Romanco, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The attached letter from the Town of Oliver is requesting a rent or lease agreement for a portion of the Town of Osoyoos dog pound. The Town of Oliver is looking for options for the provision of dog pound services. They're asking whether Osoyoos would be prepared to lease or rent a portion of their town's dog pound. The Town of Osoyoos currently has a 1-year agreement with the regional district for the use of the pound for areas A, B, C, and G. This agreement charges a license fee to the regional district of $2,400 per year and an additional $10 per cat or dog impounded. This agreement is for 1 year only, expiring December 31st, 2014, but offers a chance for renewal. This wasn't to allow Osoyoos to look at capacity issues and determine whether this causes problems in regard, and allow for the regional district to look at alternate options. With the agreement with the regional district in place and higher probability of reaching maximum capacity in the Town of Osoyoos pound, it would not be feasible at this time to consider the request from the Town of Oliver. The Osoyoos pound only has 6 stalls for cats and dogs. The bylaw officer recently purchased a caging unit for smaller animals such as cats, but this also has only 6 stalls, and there is still a possibility of maximum capacity being reached. Although the number of dogs impounded by Oliver appears low, and any agreement with them would state that the Town of Osoyoos dogs would take priority in an overall capacity situation, with the regional district being a second priority, and could leave Oliver needing to find alternative facility in a short notice. This would not be fair nor practical. So in terms of implications, none, as any agreement would give the Osoyoos the priority of use of the pound. Organizationally, if council were to approve, staff time would be required to negotiate terms and draw up necessary agreements. No budget implications, so 2 options are being presented. And the one being that the Town of Oliver be advised there is a capacity concern at the Town of Osoyoos dog pound that could cause issues if yet another local government requested use of it, and could potentially leave them without the service on a short notice if maximum capacity is reached, and therefore council cannot agree to rental or lease agreement for the pound. However, if the regional district does not renew its license to use at the end of 2014, council would revisit their request. That was all one sentence. I didn't write that. The second is that the Town of Oliver be advised that the Town of Osoyoos is interested in providing pound services, and negotiations begins for the terms, and staff recommendation is option number 1.
Thank you. Council, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I would move that one sentence that we unhappily cannot accommodate them.
Yes, I like the unhappily too. I thought, yeah, that's too bad that we can't.
Yeah.
And Councillor McCordoff seconding that and speaking to it. Councillor
Yeah, thank
McCordoff.
you. Can I just ask, I was a little bit confused. Does this mean that they do have the ability to come and use our facilities until the end of December, provided there's room, or is this right now? That this
No,
is
the town of Oliver does not, just the regional district does.
Yes,
We're
just-
in an agreement with them for areas A, B, C, and G.
right.
And the regional district does want to come back to us on a longer-term agreement, including capital improvements, but we're waiting for them to come to us with some ideas. And they're also exploring other options. With the town of Oliver in this particular predicament, it could very well be that the regional district may combine with them for a new facility. So we're just, it's a work in progress right now.
So the town of Oliver does not bring their dogs down here at this time?
No.
Okay, fair enough. It was just the regional
Yeah.
district. Thank you.
And I don't know what that would look like as an emergency, but I'm sure if there was an emergency need, there could be something looked
Yeah.
at if we, don't know about dog and pound with that much, but it's nice if we can be good neighbors. Anything further on that? All in favor of? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Here we come again. Jackpine Lane closure. Coming around again, Mr. Remengo.
Thank you. Council has addressed this issue several times over the past 3 years. The process has included incremental changes from increased signage, installation of speed humps, and closure of the lane to traffic to drive-through traffic. On July 16th, 2012, Council passed a resolution facilitating the closure of Jackpine Lane through installation of a gate at the east end. The action was requested by local residents in an attempt to reduce and slow traffic in the area. Closing of the lane appeared to have a local support. However, some public reaction resulted with the town receiving emails expressing concerns to the closure. At the April 22nd, 2014 meeting, Council directed the administration to review the current operations of the road based on a neighborhood complaint that safety and access to the area was being compromised. Construction vehicles and the road closure were causing vehicles to use private property to turn around. Jackpine Lane services properties addressed off of Maple Drive and Main Street. The Main Street properties are zoned commercial, and future development may have to receive access off Jackpine Lane. The lane is very narrow and has difficulty accommodating two-way traffic. Redevelopment of Cottonwood Drive has taken away some of the pre-development access space of the lane approach. Access space as the lane approach was redeveloped to municipal standards and following property lines. The result is a narrowing of the access and egress from the lane to Cottonwood. The lane was open for most of the lane was closed for most of last fall due to Cottonwood Drive reconstruction. The list of factors for consideration when developing potential solutions, some of them are listed below. It's quite a complex situation out there, and I'll just go through what I see as some of the issues to consider. First of all, the lane width is not conducive to two-way traffic. Safety of residents is jeopardized due to speeding traffic. There's a high amount of traffic in the area that is unrelated to residency or business, especially in the summer. High pedestrian uses in the summer, such as motel users in the area seeking out local services. Redevelopment of the lane access off of Cottonwood causes difficulty for concurrent vehicle access and egress from the lane or onto or off Cottonwood. Existing signage has acted as a deterrent, but unwarranted traffic still goes down the lane and uses private property for turnaround or causes increased hazards due to backing down the lane. Traffic control devices such as speed humps, bumps, negatively impact public works operations. Some lane local traffic users have voiced their opinion against the use of speed humps. Installation of traffic signage doesn't directly result in compliance. Enforcement of laneway speeding is almost impossible for RCMP to enforce. Having a closed lane impacts emergency access and municipal services such as garbage pickup. Potential solutions will not have 100% neighborhood acceptance, as some people will be considered negatively impacted. Some solutions will be based on longer term and broader community good versus a short-term solution. Current construction, traffic, and operations has increased the lane issues. However, construction needs to be facilitated in the short term. Long-term additional development may occur that uses the lane for access and egress. Difficulty to measure any true success of implemented options. There is a need to consider municipal liability and consistency of service to lane users. Lane will have to open at the east end if road closures are in place during utility installations. There is a basic human nature that is adverse to change and not in my backyard. So not as simple. There's a lot of things to consider when one looks at this particular issue. Implementation options. I've identified 3 here. The first one being maintain the status quo of lane closure for the long term, but implement a short-term solution for the construction period. Resulting action may include change signage to coincide with decision and increase signage visibility. That's A. B. Provide the developer with a key to the gate to enable traffic flow when construction will impact traffic flow or when large trucks require leaving the construction area. C. An alternative to B would be to open the gate for the duration of the construction period and maintain two-way traffic. D. Another option would be to open the gate, make lane one-way going east for the summer or until construction is completed. Review the impacts and consider option 2. Option 2 being develop a new option for the lane which would result in a one-way going east for the long term. This would result in A. Changing the signage to coincide with the decision and increase signage visibility. B. Address the lane speed issues through installation of additional traffic calming devices. And C. Go through a public consultation for long-term decision. The third option is maintain the situation as is with changes to the signage that may result in voluntary compliance. So when we take a look at the implications, the neighborhood safety has to be addressed and considered in relation to the physical infrastructure and the long-term development potential of the area. Organizationally, staff time to address the implementation of changes needed to facilitate the chosen option and respond to community inquiry / complaint. Budget, signage, advertising, and any needed community information tools. Significant dates, solution to issue to be found as soon as possible. Implementation may be delayed due to availability of signs or calming devices. And so there are 3 options as presented. Council provides direction based on one of the options presented in number 1. Above, Council provides direction to maintain the current status quo as outlined in number 3. Council provides direction to move immediately to option number 2. In terms of a recommendation, the administration is recommending that Council consider opening the gate at the east end and making the lane a one-way going east for until September 30th. This option will facilitate movement of construction vehicles and allow for the assessment of the one-way option to deal with issues relating to local traffic having to enter onto Cottonwood. But once this trial period is complete, Council can address the direction of maintaining the one-way as a long-term solution. Alternatively, the administration is recommending the gate be open for the same period of time and that the lane remain a two-way traffic pattern. Administration will install the needed signage and review the need to install additional traffic calming devices.
Thank you. Okay, Council, where are we going with this? It would really be nice if there was a solution. Councilor McCordock.
Thank you. I would move, and I'm not quite sure which option it is because it's a bit confusing, that we open the gate for the period of time until September 30th, but it remain as a two-way traffic pattern, and we also look at the needed signage and review the need to install traffic calming devices. Those would be my two recommendations.
Okay. So leave the gate open. Open the gate two-way.
Yes, two-way.
Until September 30th.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Seconder for that. Seconder for that. Seconder for that. No seconder. No motion. Who's next?
How much time do we have?
Councillor Ryan.
We spent about an hour with the residents last week. I would like to move that we provide the developer with a key to the gate to enable traffic flow when construction will impact the traffic flow, or when large trucks are required in the construction area, and that when major work is being done, that the residents, at least from the gate west, be advised.
Okay. Okay. And they would have that. I'm thinking of, for example, with Fortis, that Fortis truck is going to do that pole. Let's say they shut it down for the day. The people would not necessarily have, because the motel operator would have the key.
Yeah, that probably, yeah, that's
But
right.
there would be, you'd think there would
So
be
they
some
could
dialogue there.
I would hope so. You know, they seem responsive enough, because they're probably at this point the one that has the most traffic that is creating issues.
Right, creating the issues. Okay. Do I have a seconder for that? We have a seconder for that. Further, Councillor Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, very, very complex situation that we have there. If you were to add up the number of residents along there, that would equal the number of opinions that you have about how things should be done down there. The one thing that I do know is that closing that gate did have a very positive effect for quite a long period of time on calming the traffic going down there. And since that time, there's been a recognition that there is commercial development that is in the process and will continue to occur along the highway portion referred to as Main Street in this report. So I think along with this particular motion, this is an appropriate time for us to look towards the long-term solution, because that will never go away. We have to come up with something that works. And this certainly addresses something short-term. It should be all right if we don't have any, backlash from the other residents, which, I feel that they'll be understanding through this process. I do feel a real need to engage all of the residents that are impacted by this. So that would be residents and businesses along Main Street, Jackpine, and the ones that are impacted in Maple. And I'm going to stick my neck out here and suggest that perhaps a public meeting that would allow for input from all of those residents on both sides of the gate, so that we can actually hear what their opinions are formally. And then we can decide, because I do kind of like the one-way thing. The reason why I like the one-way thing, and I'm not unhappy that it was not included in this resolution, but I do like the one-way thing because of that west entrance into Jackpine. That is and will be a problematic area that could be solved by having a one-way entrance in there and an exit on the west end. And if we introduce traffic calming and recognition that there are people walking and children playing and all that kind of thing, that could be part of the long-term solution. But I certainly am supportive of providing that key. Having spoken with Mr. Romanko, I know it's not a usual thing that we do, but it certainly will get us to that next step, and that next step looking towards that long-term solution there. And so, yeah, I'm supportive of that motion.
Okay. So your talk of one-way, the motion is open the gate, two-way traffic. Sorry, that's wrong. Give the key to the person building, and the rest is two-way traffic, the way it is now.
To be honest, I hadn't really, I saw it going out, but I think it makes sense to have a two-way.
Yes. Otherwise, people at this end,
that's right.
The Fred Fouties are going to have to exit all the way down.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, Councillor Rhodes, when you were talking about the one-way component, I came to light that you were talking about one-way heading west.
East.
Heading east.
But you're right, I did say.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I thought your reference to west was the problem on the west end.
Yeah.
With traffic coming out on the west end. It would address that particular issue if the one-way was
Just
going.
for clarity, I meant one-way going east.
One-way going east. Okay. That does have that other issue about, oh, I see, we wouldn't have to wait for the person to come out.
No.
It's one way. No. But then we're asking all those residents, Dave and Fred and those folks, to go, if they're heading out of there, and that's their only road, is drive all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
All the way down to Tamarack.
In the overall scheme of things, it's not that far.
If you had to do it 3 times a day or 4 times a day, it would be. Anyway, Councilor McGurk.
Thank you. I really think that that we can't make this kind of a decision one-way, two-way if we're going to go to a public meeting. And I know that we need to decide something now for sure. We can't wait for a public meeting to deal with this issue, because that will take some time to advertise and get people there and then look at what they have to say. Perhaps in the fall, but I'd hate to turn it into a one-way now and then discover that really down the line the idea that the people, the residents around there, would prefer the two-way, and then we have to go back. So I don't think we want to backtrack on this. So I'm not quite even sure where I stand on all of this now.
I think the resolution, as Councillor Ryan had it, was give the key to the builder and status quo two-way traffic. And perhaps we were still going to look at signage as part of that. So we could do signage, which won a lot of people over when we met. By the way, council met on site with our CAO and met with 10 to 12 people that were people concerned with this. Almost had a public meeting. But anyway, so I'm seeing this as giving the key to the contractor who's going to have the trucks unloading the gyprock and all those sort of things. The neighbors will have a sense of security that they can get out in case of emergency. And we'll leave it two-way and probably do some sign correction. And I certainly like what Councillor Rhodes is saying. We will have that public meeting while we're into summer now. So
yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it till fall.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Maybe the week that we're at UBCM.
Good idea.
Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We didn't put a time in here, but you were talking, Mr. Romanko was talking about the end of September, and I think that's when they said they were hoping to have their construction finished. But I think it's important. I mean, I'm prepared to put that a date in there, but I think we should. I agree with the idea of having as this is short term, we have a public meeting, and perhaps at that time we explore some of these other alternatives. But I think it's really important because the one potential of going one way all the way through is that suddenly the people at the east end are going to say, they're going to get there and they're just going to zip down our street at 60 kilometers an hour, and so, but that's in the future. I mean, we have to deal with that. But I think that if you want to say the end of September, I'm okay with that as the end of our experiment.
Okay, we can always extend it if we have to or something.
Yeah.
But just what Councillor Ryan said, if we're looking at this right away, as soon as we had that going through one way, guess who we're going to hear from? You're going to have Tony and Phil here, and I'm using first names for a reason, just because they've been before, and this was and Councillor Rhodes, you said the truest thing here. We had a relatively good 2 years of, there was peace in the valley for 2 years. And we'll see where this goes. So I'm looking for, everyone knows where that resolution is?
No, could we have it read, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ryan, seconded by Councillor Rhodes, that Council approves providing the developer with the key to the gate to enable traffic flow when construction will impact traffic flow or when large trucks require leaving the construction area, that traffic flow on the lane remains two-way with necessary signage, that a long-term solution be considered, and further that a public meeting be held to receive input from all impacted residents.
I think that works for me.
Yeah, as long as were we going to have that meeting relating to what we're proposing today, or I see that as in the future, and it looks like we might be obligating ourselves to have the meeting before we actually implement this.
No, I think the public meeting would be held in fall prior to any additional changes that would impact the residents.
Okay, great. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Good till September, we hope. Next item is general local elections, appointment of chief election officer, CAO Romanco, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Section 41 of the Local Government Act requires that Council appoint a chief elections officer and deputy chief election officer for the purpose of conducting an election. In the past, the general local elections have been conducted by the Director of Corporate Services. In 2011, Jeanette Van Yenen was appointed Chief Election Officer, with Jim Zackel appointed as the Deputy Chief Election Officer. Laurie Scott, Deputy Corporate Officer, also has many years of experience with conducting elections. It is therefore recommended that the Director of Corporate Services be appointed the Chief Election Officer and the Deputy Chief and the Deputy Corporate Officer be appointed the Deputy Chief Election Officer for the May 15th, 2014 general elections. I think the again, the legislative requirements are that elections are held the third Saturday in November. The business plan has it as a corporate service activity in 2014. The budget has been set at about $17,000, and the options presented include that pursuant to Section 41(1) and 2 of the Local Government Act, that Jeanette Van Yenen be appointed Chief Election Officer for conducting the 2014 general local elections, with power to appoint another election officials as required for the administration and conduct of the 2014 general elections, and that Laurie Scott be appointed Deputy Chief Election Officer for the 2014 general elections. And option number 2 is very similar, except that there's Council would provide for additional names to be presented as the Chief and the Deputy Chief Election Officers. And a third is that the Chief Election Officer position be contracted out, and staff is recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion based on the wording in option number 1.
And a seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Any Any further input, any dialogue? Hearing none, all in favor, opposed, carried. That will be Ms. Van Vienen and Ms. Scott as our election, Chief Election Officer team. Next item up, spray irrigation. Bit of a unique situation here. Quite a bit of time into this, both from our administrative staff and from the school board staff looking at this. It's you spray effluent on school grounds. So Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. A major recommendation with the Town of Osoyoos 2010 Water Conservation Master Plan is to decrease the use of drinking water for irrigation purposes. One of the major users of drinking water for irrigation is the Osoyoos Secondary School, with an annual consumption of approximately 40,000 cubic meters. This consumption equals to approximately 80 single-family households' annual consumption and is the same amount of recycled water placed into our new infiltration bed in 2013. Attached is a spray irrigation agreement that enables the town of Osoyoos to use Osoyoos Secondary School playing fields and landscaping areas for recycled water irrigation processes. Implementation of this agreement will occur with the connections from the new pump house to the school system. It'll occur when the connections have been completed. This will allow for operations this summer, and they're working on it right now. This agreement has been signed by the School District 53 and may be one of the first agreements of its kind in BC, and that was one of the reasons it took so long, is that we really had no template to follow in this particular process. In terms of implementation, the community will benefit from increased water conservation. This agreement also heightens the cooperation between two community governing bodies to achieve common community goals. Organizationally, this agreement enables the organization to make additional steps in achieving recommendations identified in the 2014 sewer capacity study in dealing with surplus wastewater, goals identified in the Water Conservation Master Plan, and decreases potential staff and council stresses related to overcapacity lagoon storage. Budget operating costs will decrease with decreased water consumption. Our significant dates are as soon as possible. And sustainability, this assists achieving community sustainability goals through increased water conservation. Three options are presented. The Council approves the agreement as presented by the administration and provides direction for the signatories to sign the agreement. Second, Council asks for changes to the agreement prior to signing. And third, Council denies the request to enter into an agreement, and the administration recommends option number 1. The agreement has been developed by legal counsel, meets needed operational terms and conditions, has been approved by the School District 53, enables goal achievement identified in a 2010 water conservation and a 2014 sewer capacity study.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan, please.
Yes, I would be pleased and honored to move option number 1.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Discussion, Councillor McCordoff, please. Or
I'll
mover
just
first?
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I will just say briefly that this is a wonderful thing, and I want to congratulate our CAO and staff for their initiative in doing this and for their success. And it just, I mean, when you read about what it's going to do, it's just what more could you say? So it's terrific, and it's I hope that some of the people who've been concerned about our emergency release will be pleased to hear about this too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when you take into the fact that it's the same amount of water that we put into that infiltration bed, that's a significant change. The seconder, Councillor McCordoff, please.
Thank you. I certainly know from reading this that Interior Health has been involved. Legally, there have been people looking at this contract. School District 53, I think it's a wonderful thing, especially we're the first in BC apparently to have this done. Water conservation is so important, and the sewer capacity study, it just couldn't happen at a better time, and I think that it's a win-win situation.
Great. Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thanks. Next item is the Capital Works Program. Tender results and award. This is lumping 4 small projects together, I believe. CAO Romanko, please.
Thank you. There are 4 projects included in this one tender. These are all part of the 2014 capital budget. The projects include a sidewalk on Jubilee Drive from Vedette Drive to 87th Street, construction of a hammerhead at the north end of Spartan Drive, accessibility ramp to the marina docks, and stormwater system improvements on the east side from Sonola Key Court to Lakeshore Drive. The 2014 budget for the 4 projects totaled $391,000. A total of 3 bids are received, with the lowest bid being Grizzly Excavations for $367,825.50. True Consulting has reviewed the tender packages and has confirmed that Grizzly Excavation was the lowest bidder. This tender is under the 2014 budget figure. In terms of implications, community improvements to various infrastructures around town and accessibility at the marina. Organizationally, safer walking path along Jubilee Drive, removal of storm waters causing safety hazards on the east side of Main Street, a proper turnabout to protect private properties, and proper accessibility to the marina docks. The budget it's on budget. Starting dates are to be determined. And in terms of sustainability, infrastructure improvements for our citizens and their family and tourists. Options are to award these projects to Grizzly Excavations Limited for the amount of $367,825.50. The second option is not to construct any of these projects, and we're recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Council, please. Councilor McCordoff.
Yes, I would move option number 1, that it's awarded to Grizzly Excavation in the amount of $367,825.50.
Great. And Councilor Rhodes seconding. Comments, please. I guess I'll take over Councilor Rhodes' place. Gee, I wish we could have local contractors here. And I look at, Mike Johnson and Oliver. He's closer anyway, and out by $2,500. It's just unfortunate that we must have almost enough jobs that come out that we could entertain local contractors bidding on some of this stuff. But that's just the nature of the animal, I guess. So, any other comments on that, Councillor Ryan?
Well, yes, I just think that these are they're small, but they're really going to be very important developments and enhancements in the community. The accessibility of our marina, a nice sidewalk along Jubilee Drive so people can look down and watch the turtles in the pond. So I think again, we've been able to do so many infrastructure things in the community, and it's a real pleasure. We had a lot of visitors in the last 2 weeks, and it's a real pleasure to take them around and show them how nice the town is becoming.
Great, thank you. Anything further? All in favor of awarding? Opposed? Grizzly, and I wasn't taking a run at Grizzly Excavation either. They do fine work, and we like them here. They'll just have to move some of their staff down this way to spend all our money that we award in tenders. Okay, well, it is just 3 o'clock, and going back to what I had stated earlier under delegations, we're very pleased to have the royalty candidates here, along with their manager, Cara Burton, today, and they're going to be able to be introduced and say a few words and surprise us with all their skill and poise as they head to the last night in June for the royalty pageant. So, Cara, I'll turn this over to you first if you'd like to have a few words. And I think we need some lights on back there.
Yeah. Let's get really close. You might have to adjust that to where you need it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. We've got 4 of our candidates with us today. Our 5th one had actually to go to the hospital to look after a dog bite, but I hear she'll be fine. And we're pleased with the progress so far. We're thrilled to invite you all to the coronation on June 30th, as well as their speaking dinner on June the 1st. So without further ado, girls.
Good afternoon. My name is Ali Hutter, Miss Mariposa Gardens. I joined the Osoyoos Royalty Program to gain confidence in myself, as well as to meet new people and travel around our beautiful province. I am looking forward to our pageant. Whether if we win or lose, I still believe that we all had a great experience and we've learned so much throughout our candidacy.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tegan Espel. I am Miss Cascade Stucco, my dad's business. Through the royalty program, I have learned to be a little lady, which I have not been, believe me. I have learned poise, and I have learned a lot more about my community than I would say that I have ever known.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry, I'm not quite dressed. My name is Jill McCulloch. I am Miss Elks, and the royalty program is honestly a great experience. It's helped me through like coming over like skills that I would never able to try or wouldn't try. But it's a great program, and I love being a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Amara Leeson, Miss Desert Air Realty, and my sponsor is Carol Youngberg. I am happy to be part of the candidacy as I am quite a shy person, and it's helping me break out of my shell a bit more, as well as coming from a small town and living in the Okanagan Valley my entire life. I enjoy having the experience to travel around and understand more about where I live.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. And to think that you've got another month and a half to keep sharpening those skills. I look forward to being there on June the 30th. I will be there also on June the 1st for your speeches. It's just I'm a real fan of the royalty program. What it adds to the young ladies that are coming forward to be candidates. You just see them grow with that poise and personality and pleasantness that comes with it. And for the ones that are successful, there's a whole year out there of great times and great fun. So it's really good that you took the effort to come forward to try something new. It really says a lot about your inner persons. So thanks for coming before Osoyoos Town Council. I'm sure councillors may have some questions or comments. Councillor McCordock. Why did I know?
Well, thank you. I too am involved with the royalty because I'm the auditor. So I add up all the marks that you get. And I think I must say the very first time that I heard these girls speak, they all did an amazing job, and so I am very pleased that we have 5 great candidates. I think it may be rather difficult to choose 2 or 3. I'd also like to thank Kara Burton, Miss Osoyoos 1992, 91, who also has stayed involved with this program. So that shows you that that once you're involved with this, that and you believe in it, that you give back to your community. So thank you, Kara, and thank you, girls.
Thank you, Council, for your ongoing support.
Anything else from council? Thank you very much, ladies. You're welcome to go, or you can stay as we get into the financial accounts for the Sun Bowl Arena.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we finished with Business 7, the Capital Works Program. Any notice of motion from council? Hearing none, we go to reports, which is the general Sun Bowl Arena and payroll accounts. The general account in the amount of $301,660.07. The Sun Bowl account in the amount of $7,315.30, and payroll accounts for receipt in the amount of $59,372.85. Any input into those figures? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. And going to committee reports, I see there are minutes from the Waterfront Steering Committee. Councillor Rhodes, were you presenting those?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, actually, I wasn't. I'd like to offer a motion to receive on these. I was going to talk a little bit about it, but I think Director Cunningham has done a pretty good and understandable job of laying it out in the report. I would like to maybe just comment on the overall project just a little bit, rather than going into detail about a lot of the figures and that. Sometimes when people in a community like ours have a dream about how they think things should be in a particular area, the harsh reality sometimes kicks in, and the harsh reality of this was maybe two things that we underestimated, and that might have been the wrong time of year to ask for a quotation on this dream that we have for Gyro Beach, and perhaps maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding of the overall cost. And when that harsh reality sets in and you find out that it's a lot more than you can afford, it doesn't necessarily detract away from the dream. And I think this report will give everybody a little bit of insight that we're still going to move forward with it. We're going to change a few of the aspects of it, spread it out over a longer period of time, and perhaps look at a phasing approach to it. And certainly look to doing a few of the projects this year that will have some impact in some of the areas that we feel that will work really well within our budget that we have allocated right now. And I would encourage everybody to read this report. You know, I think it outlines it really well, and I'm kind of feeling really positive about this whole thing in spite of the setback that we did have. Everything is still achievable, just might take us a little bit longer, but then it allows for a longer period of time to do it the right way at the end of the day.
Thanks for the lead on that, Councillor Rhodes, and that ended up with a recommendation to receive, seconded by Councillor McCordoff. Anything further? Any further comments on the Waterfront Steering Committee? I think there's some good information there, and your recommendation for people to have a read on that, why we came in twice the price of what the budget estimates were, is quite striking. So I'll take the vote on the motion to receive. All in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you. Report from the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a few of the activities that the administration has been involved in over the last couple of weeks, starting in community services. We're in the process of setting up a training schedule for our new AED program. We received two new AEDs, one from the Heart and Stroke Foundation through the province and another one through the federal government program. And we have extended our training to our arena users and also to the curling club. And so these are the automatic defibrillator machines. The two new ones will go into Sonora and arena, and then we'll take the ones out of there and probably put one in the office here and then one in another location to be determined yet. So and then we're doing training with our staff here in the office as well, that people that want to. So we'll be hopefully covering the town with these machines.
I have a question. Would you like it now or later? Now, probably, because we're on the topic.
Okay.
Have we taken any steps to getting this as public accessible downtown? Like, say, you know, the Watermark Hotel probably has somebody in that lobby. It's probably accessible 24/7. Have we done any steps, or is that our role, or is that Chamber of Commerce role? It would be nice if we, because you know we have the beach down there, and it's close proximity to quite a few functions.
Yeah, my understanding is the Watermark has their own unit.
Okay.
I guess what we could work on is maybe an agreement with them that we would be allowed to put signage.
Sure.
Either at our facility or near the beach area in case there is that type of incident that occurs. So a good idea, and we'll just make note of that, we'll take a look at doing that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Moving on, in terms of community services, the staff applied to the RBC Learn to Play project for $4,000 for a $4,000 grant. As mentioned earlier, Claire's Big Ride is coming here on the 22nd, and staff have been working with the BC Schizophrenia Society to help put on the event. They've been also developing and education material, advertisements, and staff training resources for the MMBC program, which officially kicks off in our community today. But I'll speak to that a little bit more later. They offer 2 free pickleball workshops for the BC British Columbia Recreation Parks Association Move for Health Day, May 10th. Looking at summer programming right now, including swimming lessons and kayaking workshops and a children's adventure camp. The arena has been shut down and the ice has been removed as per the approved method by the Department of Fisheries, and that's why you see the metal containers in the parking lot at the arena, in that they're full of sand, and we put the paint in them, and then we'll dispose of the sand at the landfill, as opposed to what we were doing previously, is putting it into our storm sewer system.
So the sand is acting as a sand filter.
That's right. Well, it's just catching the paint is what it's doing.
Paint,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the moored slips have been leased and all the contracts signed, and we're ready for summer. So that's nice. And there is a waiting list, and we've been working with the Watermark group to see whether or not they want to make connection with the people on the wait list.
Okay.
Corporate services, the annual report is almost completed. This has taken up a lot of time to produce. However, assembly will start this week. Bylaw enforcement officers have started park patrols May 1st. A lot of animal patrols are taking place, especially with cats, feral and cats and large cats. Public washrooms are being opened and slightly properties, 20 this month. Traffic, boat trailers, and water issues. People are watering outside the time periods permitted. And if I may, I'll just quickly run over the normal restrictions. Automatic underground sprinkling is only permitted between midnight and 6 a.m. Manual control sprinkling is allowed to operate between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. and from 6 p.m. to midnight, and must not operate between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. You cannot use water hoses for washing boats or cars unless using an automatic shut-off nozzle, and they must not use water to wash sidewalks, driveways, or parking lots. The boat trailer parking permits have been sent out to local hotels, and I see our trailer was opened up for the weekend, and we had a number of units in that trailer area. Election preparation has begun. Much prep work is required to ensure supplies are ordered, agreements with the RDOS school division are reached, and voting machines are maintained. Human resources interviews were done for the building relief, the relief building service worker at Sonora, and also for the recreation students for the recreation program, and also public works. And moving on to planning and development. May 14th, the request for expression of an interest was posted for interested developers to purchase and residentially develop town-owned Richter property in the southeast Meadowlark. The selected developer would be expected to build out about 40 mixed housing units, including a 15% set aside for near-market affordable housing targeted at younger working people. As mentioned before, the Waterfront Steering Committee met to discuss the capital projects at Gyro. Finance is preparing a report for council for March income statements, doing their statutory reporting, and getting ready for property tax presentation. Public Works, the 3 students were hired, and they've been out there cutting grass already and that, so it's nice to have them aboard and give us a little more help in the summertime. And also our baskets hit the main street to know that summer is here, and generally just a lot of grass cutting and a lot of things going on for Public Works. In terms of myself, certainly the last couple of weeks has been busy with the MMBC program, between working locally with other staff on the education side, setting up the landfill because we are a depot. We had to do some temporary setups as our final capital program. We're just we've got the site lined up. Certainly we're looking to thank all the staff and the landfill contractor for their efforts in the last couple of weeks, and asking for the patience of the public with the new changes that are going to be coming along. There will be a person at the landfill to help people out with their sorting and get them through to know the new rules. And certainly the curbside program, really the biggest change there in terms of what you can't put into the blue bag are the plastic bags anymore, but you can put a lot more products in, and information has been sent to all the households through the mail. I met with the new executive director of Destination Osoyoos, Gail Scott, and we'll be meeting with her tomorrow, a couple of the directors, Gerald and Alan, to just get a broader perspective of our operations here, and took a look at the Emergency Executive Committee meeting, as well met with the liquor inspector to discuss local issues, and that's all I have to report for today.
That's quite a bit. Thank you. Councillor reports. First one up, Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Well, I want to first of all remind everybody that this coming Friday and Saturday, the soap production of Lend Me a Tenner is going to take place in Osoyoos at the mini theater at the high school, and this is by playwright Ken Ludwig, who is the one who wrote one of the other plays that Soap has produced, which was Moon Over Buffalo. So if you like that one, I think you're going to like Lend Me a Tenner. At Road 22, there's new signage at the kiosk that the town of Osoyoos, among others, contributed to. So it's updated, bright, and it's also been cleaned up, and new landscaping around there. And it's also, if you haven't been there lately, it is a wonderful place for birding. The museum, I had an opportunity to go to their open house for 2 new exhibits, and they're just wonderful. One of them is early Osoyoos, and about 8 scenes of Osoyoos as conceptualized by our local artists, and just beautiful paintings by the artists about either streetscapes or mountains or whatever. So worth a look. And also the early days of Osoyoos, focusing particularly on some of the pioneer people who lived here and who settled the area. Also very much worth a visit. So the last thing I want to say is that with the season happening and with the marina opening and people putting their boats in and their slips and so on, that we're very concerned about invasive species, and particularly the zebra mussels and so and quagga mussels. So if you have a boat, especially if it's been in the United States, make sure that you follow the clean and drain and dry procedures. And there's more of that, I think, on the Okanagan Basin Water Board website. But this is becoming sort of the mantra that we're hoping all boat owners and users will follow when they before they launch their boat, and also as they bring it out before they relaunch it. So that's my report, and I hope everyone has a wonderful summer.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. Councillor McCordock, please.
Thank you. So there's been a couple of things that I've attended the last couple of weeks. One of them was McHappy Day at McDonald's, and we had a great time. There were several people from the community that were there, quote, helping. I'm not sure that they're ready to hire us just yet, because I'm not sure whether we were a lot of help or some hindrance, although we were ordered around quite a bit. Anyway, it was great fun, and we thank McDonald's for allowing us to come in and do that. I attended the opening, the official opening of the Road 22 Osoyoos Oxbow's kiosk improvement and the landscaping, and there were 30 or 40 people there at the time, and several people spoke. You know, they were concerned about water and wildlife. The Osoyoos Oliver Naturalists, Nature Trust, South Okanagan Similkameen Conservation Program with Bryn White was there. And what was most interesting, while we were listening to the few speeches that were being made at the kiosk and having a look at the beautiful displays that they have put up there, that on the little bridge right beside there's an osprey nest. And while we were there were two young children, I'm not sure how young they were, it was hard to tell, who climbed up the side of the bridge and were bothering the ospreys. And we were so busy watching, the poor ospreys were flying around not wanting to land in their nest because they were quite concerned. So fortunately, somebody from the conservation program, I'm not sure who it was, went down and spoke to them. Definitely not something that is recommended at all. It's a great place to watch wildlife and to watch birds especially, but you must keep your distance. And right on one of the new signs it says, please stay away from the birds, and if you see them flying around and they're squawking, that means you're invading their territory. Well, this was happening as the speeches were on. So I hope that doesn't happen again. On Saturday, we had the opening of Market on Main, very well attended, even though there was a little bit of rain on and off. There were probably 17 vendors that were there, and lots of good products. And Mayor Wells came and spoke at the opening, and Channel 18 was there as well, which was very nice. We appreciate that. On Sunday, I went down, I had company for the weekend, and we went down to the Slow Food Market outside the Watermark, and it was a lovely 3 or 4 hours. As a matter of fact, it was hot, felt like the middle of summer, and it wasn't quite as, weren't quite as many vendors there as last year, but it was great fun, and I got some local bread and there were some mushrooms and honey and all kinds of interesting things there. This weekend there is, I think, the start of garage sale business. I think that there's going to be ads in the paper starting by this weekend for garage sales. I know that the Seroptimists are having one on Saturday morning, and that raises money to provide local projects around town. And while I'm not super keen on garage sales myself because I don't need anything else at my house, I sort of try and get rid of it, I do think it's a wonderful way to recycle and reuse. And so I encourage people to have a garage sale yourself, go and visit other garage sales, and keep up the recycling. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kordoff. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, just picking up on that, I only have one thing to report. The Osoyoos Elks are having a garage sale this Saturday at their location, and having said that, I wanted to point out that they will be accepting donations on Friday from noon till 6 p.m. Their garage sale, they will accept any kind of saleable item, and it's also a bottle drive. All of the proceeds from the bottle drive and the garage sale on Saturday will go towards the fireworks program this year. And so I would encourage anybody, if you got a few bags of bottles kicking around, you can take them down there on Friday and just drop them off, or anything else that you may want to contribute would really be appreciated by everybody. and the torch is over to the mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. Just before I start, following up on Councillor McCordoff and the fellows on the bridge, she was very kind in the words that she used about those individuals. They were young adults, definitely of driving age, pulled up in a truck. And my description of them would have been yahoos, is what I thought we were climbing up on the bridge to disturb the nesting ospreys, which I think is against the law. But anyway, that was it was a bit of a shocker at the ceremony that we were at. I just had a busy time, and sort of ditto to where council's been. The one that was interesting was the Jackpine Lane issue with there was the four councillors there, the CAO, and the residents from that area, from that end of the lane. Very interesting. It was about an hour, and as Councillor Rhodes said, there was 10 people there, or 12 maybe, and there was certainly 10 or 12 opinions on how that fix would look like. So very, very interesting, I think, getting us ready for when we do have a public meeting. The images of Osoyoos at the museum, very good. Really nice to see a museum that's actually going to have changing presentations. You know, so many times the museum was just sort of was there, and you walked in and it was rather static. But this is going to be what the museum could be looking like as they put on special displays and make it exciting for people to visit. The main thing I want to talk about is it's on the. I guess it's an editorial. It's on the commentary page of today's Vancouver Sun. National Park Ideas, Time Has Come. This is a very, very well-written article by Myers Bennett of the South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce, Tom Diaz, and he's the director of the Kelowna Chamber of Commerce, Jonathan Kruger is the chief of the Penticton Indian Band, and Jim Wise is representative of the BC Wine Institute. They put this article out there. I tried to see if you could get it today yet, but I think because the paper is available today, they're probably still trying to sell copy. It's not available yet, but I think if you go to the Vancouver Sun opinion /editorial page tomorrow, you'll be able to pick this up. You should read it. It's very good, and it's sort of the dilemma that the national park is in at this time, and there certainly is opinion being offered on that, and Osoyoos Council being a proponent of the park and what it can do for the economics of the South Okanagan. We certainly would be standing behind that article, and we're on record of as supporting the park program. And it's not even about the park; it's to re-engage. That's where we are right now. Is just asking the province to re-engage with the federal government and Parks Canada. So hopefully that'll take place. There certainly is a lot of interest groups that are also hoping that can take place. And that's my report. I'll entertain that motion.
May I forgot something. May
Yes,
I please add something? I do apologize. I was asked to mention the Mexican Fiesta, which is on Friday, May the 23rd at the golf course, and it's a fundraiser for the Desert Park Racing, and it is $20 for dinner, 6 till 8 p.m., and there's hermit crab races, and I'm not exactly sure what that means, but there's also for $5 you can get a bus ride home. So this is the next event to try and raise money for the horse racing. I know there's something else on the 7th of June as well. So I'm sorry I forgot that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McCordoff. And that motion, Councillor Rhodes McCordoff, all in favor? We're adjourned. Another great sunny South Okanagan afternoon. Goodbye for now.